Let me tell you something that still gives me chills. There's nothing quite like sitting in a packed courtroom, knowing in your bones that the truth is about to get buried alive. I'll never forget the silence after Judge Malcolm Hargrove read out the verdict, his voice steady but cold as steel. Captain Maya Rodriguez, guilty of first-degree murder, sentenced to death by lethal injection. The room sucked in its breath as one, and my daughter just sat there. This war hero, 3 tours in Afghanistan, survived an IED that took her leg, who'd led her soldiers with guts and a big, stubborn heart, now trembling, but only in her hands. She glanced at me from the defense table, didn't even bother to argue with her own lawyer. "I didn't do this," she whispered, not defiant, just tired. Like she'd already spent her last ounce of hope, and all she had left was resignation. Nobody cared. The prosecution had her dead to rights. Her prints on the murder weapon, her blood at the scene, security footage showing her car near Colonel James Westfield's place the night he was killed. The state painted her as a bitter, broken vet out for payback because Westfield had denied her medical leave. What the jury never heard, what the judge called prejudicial, was that Westfield had covered up sexual assaults in their unit and blackmailed Maya to keep her mouth shut. But, the system likes its stories simple. As bailiffs closed in, Maya only turned to me, her old dad in a wheelchair, and called out, "Take care of Atlas, Dad. Don't let them put him down." Atlas, her German shepherd, whined and lunged against his leash, desperate to reach her. That dog had been her lifeline since Afghanistan, trained to ground her through panic attacks, the only soul who could get her out of bed on the worst mornings. Now he sat, howling so deep and sad that the whole gallery went quiet, except for the click of cuffs on Maya's wrists. I'll tell you straight, in that moment, I believed the system was finished with her, and me too. But Atlas wasn't done. And neither was I. 3 weeks later, my little living room had turned into a war room, papered wall to wall with crime scene photos, news clippings, timelines. Sam Winters, Maya's public defender, looked 20 years older, losing sleep reviewing her appeal. Atlas, too, was out of sorts, not eating, restless, his eyes following us like he was trying to say something we were too stupid to understand. Then one night, the doorbell rings, and everything changes. This woman, sharp-eyed, military posture, shows up. "Sergeant Major Rodriguez," she says. "I'm Lieutenant Diane Foster. I served under Maya. I don't think she killed Westfield." Atlas lets her in after a good sniff. Turns out Foster wanted to testify, but got threatened by Major Philip Garrison, Westfield's replacement. She spills about a kickback scheme. Westfield and Garrison, plus a few dirty officers, were stealing from rehab funds for wounded vets. Maya had stumbled onto it, started asking questions, and the night Westfield died, Foster had proof Garrison visited an hour after Maya left, but that footage vanished. She slides a USB across my table, evidence of the scam, but nothing to clear Maya of murder. Not yet. Sam digs through the files. "It's motive, not a smoking gun," he sighs. That's when Atlas jumps up, heads straight for Maya's boxed-up gear, starts pawing at a duffel bag. We find her GPS fitness tracker, shows her running on the other side of town during the murder. Sam gets excited. This blows up the prosecution's timeline. Her shoes? Clean as a whistle, no gravel from Westfield's driveway. Circumstantial, but it's something that we're about to call it a night when Atlas blocks the front door, barking like he's got a lead. He wants us to follow. I say, so Sam helps me into my chair, leashes Atlas, and off we go. Middle of the night, me, Sam, and a dog on a mission. Atlas leads us all the way to the military base, nose to the ground, straight to a storage yard behind the maintenance shed. He circles a dumpster, sits down, and waits. Sam pokes around. There, wrapped in plastic, a bloodstained jacket with Major Garrison's name on it. "This could tie Garrison to the scene," Sam whispers. "But we can't touch it. We need the cops." Right then, voices, 2 men, talking about how Garrison wants everything cleared out before the Inspector General shows up, and how Maya's appeal won't go anywhere. Because, Get this. Who's going to believe a crippled vet with PTSD over a decorated major? We realize if we don't act fast, all the evidence vanishes. Next day, I call in a big favor. Special Agent Camila Ortiz, Army CID, shows up. She's as tough as they come, used to work with me. I tell her everything. She's skeptical, especially about Atlas finding evidence. But after Foster gets threatened by some creep in a black SUV, Ortiz is in. Before we know it, somebody tries to break into my house. Atlas tackles him, drags in a military cop working for Garrison. Ortiz arrests him on the spot, and we finally have a direct link between Garrison and the plot to frame Maya. Things go wild after that. Ortiz's team finds Garrison's bloody jacket. Jenkins, the MP, confesses he planted Maya's DNA at the crime scene on Garrison's orders, and the digital files reveal the fraud. But just as Ortiz prepares the case for a federal prosecutor, we get gut-punched. They've moved up Maya's execution. Sam blurts, panic on his face. 10 days left. Garrison's pulling strings, trying to kill Maya before the truth gets out. Atlas isn't done. He keeps pawing at Maya's bag until I find a hidden memory card, encrypted. Foster knows a tech who can crack it. Ortiz splits us into two teams. She and Foster work the card. Sam and I follow Atlas again. This time, the dog leads us to the records office. Sergeant Willis, the clerk, lets us in. Turns out Foster warned her. She finds the original forensics report. 2 blood types on the murder weapon, not one, and Garrison requested all evidence be classified. Willis copies everything to a flash drive and gets us out before security shows. Back at my place, Foster and Ortiz have cracked the card. It's a recording of Maya confronting Westfield about the fraud, threatening to go public if he doesn't come clean. Proof she had dirt on both Westfield and Garrison. With the original forensics, the confession from Jenkins, and the digital files, Ortiz preps an emergency appeal, but we're running out of time. Then the lights go out. Figures outside the house, Garrison's men. Ortiz arms herself, tells me to give the evidence to Atlas and send him to the base commander, General Winters, an old friend of Maya's. We strap the flash drive and card to Atlas's vest. Ortiz fires shots out the window to distract the men, and I send Atlas off into the night. Our last hope. Atlas dodges patrols, sneaks through a garden window, and finds the general at his desk. General Winters reads the note. Evidence proving Maya's innocence, lives at risk, and plugs in the files. Meanwhile, Garrison and his men storm my house. But just as he's about to kill us all, his phone rings. It's Winters. Garrison tries to lie, but Winters orders him to surrender. Next thing we know, MPs roll up, Garrison's arrested on the spot, and Atlas comes trotting in with the general. General Winters apologizes to me, says Maya's execution is stayed, and promises to set things right. 3 weeks later, Maya steps out of prison, limping but smiling, straight into Atlas's waiting paws. She kneels, crying and laughing, that old stubborn light back in her eyes. "You saved me, boy," she whispers. "You never gave up." Sam and Ortiz show up with news. Garrison confessed, his whole scheme exposed, and Maya's fully pardoned. The army offers her promotion, back pay, the works. She shakes her head. "I'm done with the military, Dad. There are other ways to serve." 6 months later, Maya opens a veterans center with the settlement money, helping others lost in the system. Atlas trains new service dogs, never leaves her side. On opening day, a young vet hands her a German Shepherd puppy, first graduate of their program. "We're calling him Justice," she says, and Atlas gives a soft woof, like he approves to SO here's what I've learned. Sometimes Justice limps in on 3 legs, covered in fur, led by love and loyalty when the law fails. And when truth finds its way, it often comes from the most unexpected place. Now I want to know, what would you have done in my shoes? Where's the line between justice and the rules? Drop your thoughts below. Let's talk about who gets to decide what's right and what we owe each other when the system stumbles.